there is one statistic, Praveen, that I like to throw at Congress persons in particular. Of the 178 seats that the BJP and Congress were in direct contest in 2019, when I say direct contest, between the two you won 80% of the votes. You won just 12 of them. Please keep this in mind. 178 seats, you won just 12. Average margin was more than 15%. In 2014, of the 143 seats in direct contest, the BJP won 130, you won just 13. You see, you seem to be the Kamzor Kadi. You're talking about alliances. Unless you are able to beat the BJP in direct matchups, to use another IPL term, how are you going to actually even reach 100 or take on the BJP? That's the weakness of your party at the moment.
We are in Mumbai, the financial capital and the stock market capital. In stock markets investing, there's a saying, and in mutual funds, there's a disclaimer. Past performance is not an indicator of future returns. So we cannot keep going back on this is what happened in 2019. Then I can go back 1984. This is what happened into the BJP. 1999. This is what happened to the BJP.
You're being a little unfair. I'm going to the last two elections, 2019 and 14.
I get that, Rajdeep. I think we also had a 2004 where everybody thought it was going in a certain manner. That's why I'm saying let's have some humility here. Let's understand that when this swings, when there is anger on the ground, when people are saying, why is the Prime Minister only talking about Hindu-Muslim? He was our Prime Minister for 10 years. Does he have nothing else to talk about? And now to boot, because again we are in Mumbai, suddenly I don't know what the situation is with the top two business groups and the Prime Minister. He mentions them suddenly for the first time in 10 years. What is going on? What are these indications? So when the ground sentiment shifts, it can shift pretty drastically. Let us acknowledge that.
I want to throw one more data point before I go to GVL, because the BJP vote between 2009 to 2019 in a decade grew from 7 crores in 2009 to around 22 crores in 2019. The Congress vote has remained static at 11 crores. So you're not getting new voters. How do I come back to it, how do you take on this mighty BJP machine unless you get new voters or you're able to close the gap in these direct matchups?
See, I think it is a no-brainer that the BJP has grown significantly in the last 10 years. I think that's for everybody, including me, to acknowledge, accept and admit, and perhaps even congratulate. But the point is, now I don't want to get into how fair our elections are and those types of things, because that's another issue that I hope we will get into. If you're really, since you're using sports analogies, is this really a fair match? I think that's the next thing that we need to talk about. But I completely understand that the BJP has grown. But the swing is what I keep pointing to. The swing. And it could be the swing in terms of youth. It could be the swing in terms of identity groups. It could be the swing in terms of states, voters in states. When they swing, even if 5% of committed BJP voters, not committed meaning over the last 10 years, if they swing, that's a swing of 10%.
Okay, you need a Mitchell Stark basically somewhere in the Congress ranks to really swing the ball in these early overs. But GVL Narasimha Rao, one very interesting statistic again, and we are focusing on data at the moment. 132 of your out of the 303 sitting MPs have been changed by the BJP. Almost 30% of your MPs are MPs who have come, are candidates who've come from other parties to you. You seem to be welcoming one and all. It almost seems you lack confidence in your own MPs. Imagine you've changed 40% of your sitting MPs. Isn't that a clear indication of local anti-incumbency, that your MPs are not good enough, that you have to change 40% of them? If you've done such a remarkable job in 10 years, why do you need to change 40% of your sitting MPs? Or bring in people whom you called corrupt only the other day? We are in the same state where you called certain leaders corrupt and said you would do chakki pissing and send them to jail. And those leaders are happily sharing a platform to you. Ye public hai, ye sab janti hai, GVL.
A significant number of candidates have been, candidates have been changed. But that's a part of the game. Now that you're talking about cricket. So in cricket, do you go with the same team every match? The captain is the real strength of this team is Prime Minister Modi ji. He is the captain of the team. People have trust in him. And he is allowed to choose his own team members.
But
so
do
if
it-
some members of the team have
Yes.
not performed or cannot win this, cannot play well in this particular innings because of certain factors, I think as a smart captain, he will make the changes.
But a good team is seen to be a stable team. You seem to be
No, there is-
effectively admitting, sir, one minute. You seem to be effectively admitting that 40% of your team is not good enough.
No, not
And all
40%.
you're putting all your focus on the captain. The other 10 players don't matter. You can change them because
No,
people will vote for your captain.
No, Rajdeep, they have a strategy where a large number of MPs have contested as MLAs, gone to states, as chief ministers, as ministers, as speakers. I think that you cannot continue with the same team. That possibly doesn't help. I think you will have to do the necessary changes to infuse dynamism into the party. And it's not that people who have been replaced, they are being jettisoned. They're being involved in some other roles, whether organizational or state assembly or somewhere else. I think that's a smart, you have to appreciate the BJP strategy, and I'm sure this will be your analysis on the fourth evening. How smartly Modi has made these effective changes to win a massive victory for the third time over.
Well, I will concede that in 2019, 90% of your new MPs or the MPs you changed did win the election. So maybe there's a strategy there, though 40% seems a rather excessive number. But I want to come to you, GVL, as someone who's done a lot of psephology and look at something which seems to some observers to be strange, interesting, intriguing, which is turnout. In the first round, in the first two rounds, average voter turnout declined by about 3 to 4%, even after the final figures are out. And there was a sense that the BJP got worried, particularly after the first round, that maybe our voters are not coming to the polling booths, which is why, as Praveen Chakravarty seems to suggest, the Prime Minister changed strategy. Enough of Viksit Bharat, let's go back to Hindu-Muslim. Is that true or not? That somewhere that first round, in a way, spooked the BJP, yes or no?
No, because I think the focus on his speeches even now, throughout his campaign, has been on development, has been on guarantee for development, on how we have delivered in 10 years, how we have become the fifth largest economy in the world, how in 10 years we will become the third largest economy. Take out today's newspapers, the front page ads. We talk about what India will be 5 years from now under Prime Minister Modi. So our focus is entirely on development. But in 5 rallies that Prime Minister speaks in a day, where he speaks for nearly 5 hours, I think he will be covering a wide array of topics. You cannot allow opposition to run away with polarization and not to highlight this factor.